then it might be Ubuntu and it might not be black.
We have to start having a serious conversation with our brothers and sisters back home.
That's my mother, so you can't tell me not to send her money.
And I've tried, but it just wouldn't work because I could just have my card.
How do we stop paying the black tax?
You have to work smart.
The other side is to say no. So dude, you know what you need to collect it. Hello and welcome to the first episode of season 2 of Tranquil Dialogue. We're your host and I'm Ethel.
And I'm Jen.
Yeah, are you excited, Jen?
I'm excited because this is where peaceful, candid and entertaining conversations take place. So this season, I'm looking forward to what is in store.
Yes, we have so much in store for you as the viewer, and we're super excited about what our guests would have to say. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to use this opportunity to welcome our first guest, and they'll be talking about family and money matters. Welcome to Tranquil Dialogue.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. It's excited to be here, very pumped.
And our guest is Awit, the director of Namlao, and our second is Possible, and he's the director of Kweli Finance and also the sponsor of today's episode. Money is a big issue that a lot of people don't talk about. At home, really, there's a whole family unit and there's money, but a lot of people try to hide the thought of money behind that back curtain of the room somewhere. No one really wants to talk about it as much openly in families. And I would say specifically in a lot of African family homes, why mention money? You just know money comes in, parents buy things, or we don't have enough to purchase what we need. So it's like that big elephant in the room that's almost never addressed unless an issue arises and you have to address it directly. So we brought two amazing people here, both of you today, to share with us about money in African households. And for you both, really, what was it like growing up and talking about money in your households?
Oh yeah, thank you. For me, first of all, I'm African. Every African home is different. I would say, we could say that we are all the same, but when it comes to raising families, there's always that different. For me, when growing up, we talked about money with my family. If there's no money, my parents will tell you, look, you're looking for a shoe, and there's no money to get you that shoe. You probably have to wait 6 months until we get that money, then we'll get you that shoe that you need. So when it comes to money for us, I think it was a conversation that we could sit and have with our parents. I was going to boarding school, and when there's no money to go to boarding school, my dad would tell us, look, this year we don't have money to take you to boarding school. You go to what we call day scholars. So day scholars where you'll be renting a place near the school and you are going to school instead of being in a boarding school, because sometimes it could be expensive to be in that boarding school. So I think it's an open conversation. If something is there, you can discuss with your family, look, we can't afford this time, maybe next month we can get you that.
So from the looks of things, you were raised what I would call an average African household.
I would say so. Well, if it's average, but yeah.
Then where was this? You said when I was growing up in boarding school. Was this in Australia or outside Australia? Okay,
a little bit about my story. I was born in Congo. I was born in a little village in Kasai, and then which is in DRC in Congo, not the other Congo, but the music one. The one that will have music.
That's not the music part, and then there's the one with the music part.
Which we all know Congo is very good with music.
I expect you to dance. You've sold yourself out.
So yeah, we love our music. We love our culture, and also education is also very important as well. So from there, obviously, my family moved to Lubumbashi, which is probably a second commercial city in Congo. And then after a while, while I was still very young, we moved to Zambia. So when I'm talking about boarding school is in Zambia, where I also spend much of my time in Zambia. So we always go to boarding school and then come back.
I think you were very fortunate though, because a lot of people I know in African homes, for example mine, we don't really talk about money. It's always which I do translate now to my kids as
Yeah.
well. We don't have enough money, okay? We can't afford that. Sometimes I do say that, not necessarily because you can't afford it, but you just want them to know you don't always just want to buy because you think you have the money. But yeah, how about your way? Similar or very different?
I think I would say a little bit different because so I grew up when the war was happening in South Sudan, and so what is money to talk like? How are you going to talk about money? Talk about money or this? To some extent, there was some conversation, but I would say it's just one of those things that's not really talked about. And I do find that in a lot of the African homes, as you were saying, you don't really get to hear much. You either hear the avoidance of it, or people just kind of do whatever. But the thing is with money, it doesn't matter whether you have a relationship that is avoidance or you just go and use it anyhow. It doesn't matter, it still exists. And you need to be able to think about it strategically, and you have to be able to actually think about all these things like budgeting and all of that. You can't just let it be. Wherefore, like, I grew up in quite like an influential family. However, because of war, we didn't really get to do much. So my dad was more like the spender, you know, and he just didn't have necessarily a relationship with money. But my mom was more the saver. She's more the business person, and she did business, you know, as best as she could and stuff. So as I grew up, I resented money. I did not have a relationship with money whatsoever. I just saw it as evil. I saw it as something that just destroys.
How do you think that came about with that relationship that you have of resentment with money?
Yeah, so how that came about, my dad was a spender and he didn't really care about money, right? So he spent it anyhow, which meant that we didn't have money left, right? Then my mom was the saver and she's great at business and all of that, but she also did not use it. These are the conversations we've had. I have a very good relationship with my mom. I already have these conversations with her. So I'm like, what's the point of keeping money if you're not using it? Because both end, the result still is money is not being used. Money is not being used. And so because of that, to me, both sides still represented poverty. It still represented a bad thing. So that's why I hated money, because I couldn't find the third way, which is the third way is budgeting, all these different things, which I'm sure we're going to talk about more.
Or investing.
Exactly, investment and things like that. So that's why I had such deep resentment for money. But it's a tool at the end of the day,
And you have to learn how to use that tool to work to your benefit.
Exactly. That's the only way to do it.
So when did your relationship with money start changing?
Believe me or not, I would say roughly 5 to 6 years back is when I would say it changed, because I realized like there was money still, like I realized money just goes around. I have to use it. I can't avoid it. I go to work, I make money. Everything, it's all money. So I'm like, okay, how do I come to a point to understand it? Because the problem was I didn't understand what money is. So when I started digging in and actually started like try to understand what money is, realizing that it's a tool, that is the biggest changer for me. Like, it's a tool. It's not, it doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have anything. It's literally a tool that you use. You know what I mean? And so when I realized that, then I read one of the best books ever. I still have that and I give it to everyone, Barefoot Investor. Yes, like that changed my entire thinking. And within very short time, my life changed on how I use money and start doing certain investments. So definitely.
So what was in that Barefoot Investor that spoke to you, that caused that transformational change for you?
Absolutely, yeah. So the traditional like sort of conversations that we'll have, or what in my experience is that you take out an Excel spreadsheet, then you have like, you know, your car next to it, there's this dollar, there's this, and there's like the budgeting system looks so convoluted and so overwhelming. And so with Barefoot Investor, it only gave, it looked at it in the most simplest way, which is like, okay, well, you 100% of your money comes in, and then out of that percentage, you divide different percentage, 10% here, 5% here. I don't like numbers. I think most of people don't like numbers.
Yeah, most people don't do
Nobody, yeah, exactly, and that's why we just rather kind of leave everything alone. But then the moment that I got a simplified way of budgeting, then I'm like, well, this is easy. I know 10% of this, I know 10% of that, and then just kind of let the money just go into its prospective accounts, and boom.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned obviously your parents were quite open. Money was an open discussion within your family unit. How did your family shape your views on money and long-term planning?
I'll also give an example of when I was growing up. My mom was involved in business as well as my dad. My dad's business was more of he travels. He goes to different countries or different towns and do his business there. And my mom's business was more of every day, goes to the market and come back home. Seeing that, and also seeing, because relationship with money, as in Africa, we start from a very young age. They send you to the market, go buy this. They send you, go and get this, you can keep the change. You know, that shapes the relationship, how we view money. When my mom comes home in the evening, she'll put money on the table and tell us, can you start counting the money? Put the money together. So you put the ones together, you put the $2 together, you put the $3 together. That start shaping, oh, so this is money, you can do this with money from a very young age. And it taught me that, you know, what's yours is yours. You can't steal money, because I still have, because when you're growing up in the family, you still have some rebels in the family that, you know, can steal something and put it in their pocket. I was never like that. So I was the most trusted, where they can say, if my mom put the money there on the table, count the money, I'll be the one that will be looking after that money and make sure nobody pockets that money in the pocket. So that sort of shaped the way I view money, and that started giving that conversation within the family about money as well.
I think you were very fortunate again, because I
Yeah.
didn't get that, and a lot of us
We
didn't
didn't
get that. But I think to transfer that to here now in the Western world or in Australia, I can't just send my 8-year-old here, go get something from the shop, or come count my money, because we live in a cashless society in this digital world. So with kids growing up here, how can we expose them? Because again, a lot of money matters are not being had at home. How can we expose them to introduce them to things like that? But there's barely any cash roaming around. I know I was listening to a podcast recently where someone was saying, get cash out of the bank, and I've tried, but it just wouldn't work, because I could just tap my card. How am I going to get cash out? So how do we help those like children growing up here to introduce it? Because it's not being done at schools, right? They're not being thought about money management or budget, and like you said, with the barefoot investor. So how can we introduce kids to having those conversations about money to make sure they're well equipped for the future? Otherwise, they'll be spenders. And a lot of the time, if you don't save up, then you can't build that generational wealth that we keep hearing people talk about.
We should start talking about money with the kids from the beginning. You know, it's very important to start talking. That's why you see these pledges and generation poverty, because people's relationship with money has been broken from the beginning, from an early age. So having a conversation with our children to understand what money is, to understand about investment, because investment is very important. It's not just about everyday jobs, you go and come back. But when you talk about money, we have to talk about what the relationship we have with money, you know, and how can we use that money to our advantage.
So how can we start that conversation with our children?
When it comes to money, you have to make sure that you are very frank and talk about the kids. If there is money, you say, look, we have this amount of money, and they start introducing them into the budget. You know, when you are doing your budgeting for something, or for a family project, or for something, bring them to the table. We have this. What do you think? How can we use this for? I'm very fortunate. Some of my clients that I deal with, when I go to see them, because I go see my clients, they bring in their children. They'll bring in all the children that are 14 and probably above, and some of the young ones will be sitting there to observe. And this is very common in African homes that I go to. So we sit, they say, look, if we are going to do investment, the children need to hear it. They need to be able to understand what we're doing, because it's not later on they'll say, oh, you did this, you did that. And these are African homes, and we'll sit with all the kids and I'll explain to them word by word what we're doing and how does it impact them. If some of the children that are above 18 wants to get involved as well, they know what they're getting involved in, and the parents are there as well. So it's a very good thing for children, especially the young ones, to see what the parents are investors. Okay, what do my parents invest into? You know, having that conversation, being inclusive in that conversation is very important. It's building them for the future.
There's ways you can go around, you know, like looking at budget and how to make money and all of that. However, one of the biggest things that I do have a conversation with my brother is about is the things that you destroy money. Which is again a lot of stuff that, oh, I don't have money, I don't know where my money is gone. It's because most of the time we don't look at actually those things. So when the conversations I would have with my brother, I'm like, this is how much you know, coffee would cost. Like, we've heard it many times before. That is one of the worst. You know, when you calculate it by $5 here, $5 there, how many coffees do you have, all these things. So I would give him that perspective, give an example based on his age bracket. What are some of the things that destroys money? And that's like spending money at the canteen. So we'll go in details. I'm like, this is what's going to destroy your money. And so then I'm like, however, what you can do, you can splurge here, because as a part of that barefoot investor, there is, you know, a part where you can just take money out to splurge. And you can splurge this much, but then you can save this much. And then also, like, if I get him, like, I wouldn't just give him money. I'll make him work with that money. Yeah. You know, paying for his license or whatever. You know, I'm like, I'm happy to do it for, but can you please stand at the door when I'm doing an event? And that money, I want you to use that money towards this, that for yourself, for your own future. Can I give him money and just let him be? Sure, I can. I have the means to. But no, like, understanding the value of money is not just something that just comes and goes. You have to have a relationship with it. You can't ignore it. So yeah.
So I do remember meeting with you about a year ago, and we're having a conversation, and you mentioned something that I don't believe I had heard before, at least vaguely I had. And I was intrigued by how you explained it, and it's the black tax. So for everyone watching us today or at the moment, what is the black tax, and can we get away from it or move away from that?
Right. So black tax is when within the African household where somebody becomes successful and then every single person kind of leached on them. That's where black tax is, and I have to use the word leech. I could use any other words, but that's what happened. And so then that person becomes, so if they're here, then they get an uncle here, an auntie there, taking this money, taking that money. Now there is a lot of you know, literature out there, even currently some within Australia, that often discuss, is black tax actually Ubuntu? Is it really a community base, or is it actually a bad thing? Right? That's something that we can, like, that's its own web. However, if, like, within families, if you become successful and you get, say, a certain amount of money, if your uncle takes this, your mom takes this, and all of that, what do you think happened to most of us? A lot of people end up in my office. I could say these, some people want to unalive themselves. People are suiciding, people are going into depression, people are doing, it's hurting, because guess what? Your future is actually being stolen. Because if that money, if you're giving it to an auntie and uncle and all of that, who's actually handling your future? You are borrowing from your future. And then if you're a grown person with kids, what happens if you're giving your money to uncle? Whose future are you stealing? Your kids.
we have to start planning for the future now.
Yeah.
That's one thing I realize a lot of people, well, at least some of the African people, once you have your house, you have your car, you have your family, your wife, you think, that's it, I'm settled there.
Yeah.
And then once you have a little bit of money, the rest just goes to uncles, aunties, cousins, and all that. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what's your plan for you and these kids in the next 50 years, 100 years, you know? That's why we start to talk about generational wealth. We start talking about trusts, you know. How can we build a future for these kids that is stable, not just for my kids and their kids to come and the other kids. So if you are wealthy, it's better, you know, you invest now, you start talking about, as a family, you could come together and say, okay, what can we do? You know, my uncle has a business idea, this one has a business idea, this one has a business idea. The money I'm giving you is an investment. If you invest in the next 10, 15 years, you could have an empire, you know. Then I give you, go buy a shirt, the money disappears. I give you go and buy that, the money disappears.
And I think that's exactly the point, because then you're giving these uncles and families and whatever, seemingly that it's a good thing, but they just go and buy like whatever shoes. So it's not like somebody's even asking you, can you please help me out? Which is really, that's the Ubuntu side. Help me out to do a business, and when I get this business, I'll pay you back. You know what I mean? So we've conflated so much that a lot of African people and so many other cultures are actually, people are suiciding, people are doing all sorts of crazy, they're having all these depression and things like that. And trust me, it's a very, very controversial topic, but I am more than happy to talk about it 1,000 times over, because the data is, because I see people in front of my office, I talk to people. I did quite a few workshops around this. Now, I've done data, people your age, but I've never done the data like with young people, like very young, like I'm talking about 16, 18, 21. You won't believe this. They're the worstly affected. Yeah. These people, I can't believe it, because the thing is, they're meant to be sort of like the educated, the people that know better. They don't. They're actually worse off. They're buying mansions for their families.
So you both mentioned something really interesting, that, oh, when you're wealthy, you send money to uncle, you send money to auntie. But I think what might be missing, that if you want to touch on, is a majority of the people are not wealthy. Let's be honest, most people live paycheck to paycheck. Exactly. And I see some people who move from overseas here, they have 3 jobs to make ends meet or to live, you know, comfortably, and then they send money back home. But a lot of people are not even comfortable, and they have maybe 5 kids, or 2 to 5 or to 10 kids here, but then they're obligated to send money or obliged to send money back home. How can you ever change that? Because some people feel guilty. Like, for example, you said, you know, there was war happening, you guys were running, and you came here. Imagine that little experience of war, or maybe a lot, I don't know how long you were there, experience that you had, and then coming here, you go, oh, but I feel I'm so comfortable here. I remember the first time I traveled, I grew up in Nigeria. I spent my formative years there, and then when I went from where I was living with my grandmother in a smaller town to the bigger city to see my aunt. I remember the first time I went there, it was when I had shower. This is in the late 90s. And obviously back home we're doing buckets with my at my grandmother's house. So when I got there, I spent over an hour and a half, I think it was almost 2 hours or about 2 hours in the shower. And I remember the girl that was living at my aunt's then came at some point and tell her, are you okay? What I was doing in there, I was crying because my younger sister didn't come with me to enjoy what I'm enjoying. Like just standing and water is pouring on you. Like that's a luxury. You know, so same as people who come here, that guilt, it's like I have light, I could go to work and get paid, I have children. So, but the people I left back home are still where they are, even worse off. Why can't I just send them money? How's that a bad thing? Or so
I love that. Can I touch on
after
that?
her, then impossible.
Can I touch that on that? Number one, wealth is what wealth is or what luxury is. Let's put it this way, put it into perspective, right? Wealth would mean, right? Wealth means that your life is taken. If you stop right now from working, you will need money. You have future, you have retirement plan, you have all of these things. That's wealth, right? Going to work and getting money is not wealth. Let me
Say
put
that again.
It's just not. It's ghetto. It's ghetto. It's not, right? So I want to just put that on the side. Yes, what you were saying about like, oh, why can't I just give money to families and all of that? Do you know, like, if you look at statistics, African in diaspora, as a part of a budget in like different African countries, we are the biggest contributors to our country. Like giving billions, billions. We send money. What happens? Because each and every one of us can give story about like, oh, I've sent like 60K, I've sent 100K to my uncle. What do they do with it?
Good question.
That's a good
What do they do with it? Because they don't go and use it. Because if they go and use it and make something out of it, then it might be Ubuntu and it might not be black tax. But they're not using it. They're buying wrong stuff there, and then they're making you feel guilty. And then, like, I don't know about your culture, but in like, say, let's say in Dinka, South Sudanese, yeah, exactly. Like, this person, you give them money, and he goes and marries 3 wives. They go and have 100 kids, and now you feel bad.
And you have to feed 100 kids and 3 wives.
I'm sorry. I'm happy to talk about this one. No.
I totally agree, because there's that guilt. There's that guilt. My cousin is suffering. Look at me. I have light. I have water. They have to go to the stream to fetch water. I'm
Wait, sorry. We're talking about extreme here. We know some people back home are living luxurious life and they don't need finances or any support. But we're just talking about the extreme.
And I always say, with the amount of money that African diaspora are sending back home, we could actually buy a whole country and make it to be a very successful, very important and well-developed country. But the money we are sending is not going anywhere. It's like we are throwing money and it just disappears. Tomorrow you ask and say, what did you do with the money I sent, the money I gave you? They'll give you story upon stories.
So it's like you say you want to start a business. So where's that money I sent you to start the business?
Definitely. I'll give an example. My brother contacted me and said, look, I want to invest. I want to open a barber shop. It's really good. Send me money. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. I'll send you money, but you don't have to pay it back, but I'll give you money, you can start that. I just let it. I said, okay, fine. 6 months later, I said, I don't want to ask what's happening. Ask what happened to the barber shop. There's stories. Oh, this and that. Then if this and that, what happened to the money? There's no story. Some of them dress that better than I dress up. The question is, what is the money that we're sending them? That's why I'm very much emphasize having a good relationship. Evaluate your relationship with money. Start educating our children about money, because you can give your child money today, they'll go and buy whatever they go and buy and the money is gone. But we started to think about the future. You've talked about you've talked about working a 9-to-5 job. That is not wealth, and that's true.
That's absolutely.
So we are so entangled into this, what can I say, world where we don't think beyond having $100, $200 paycheck. When a month you are getting to $2,000, $5,000 you get them. And you think that's it. So we're limited to that. We're not thinking beyond that.
Most people don't know the difference between guilt and shame, right? And I have to say, so guilt says, I've made a mistake. So if I drop this glass, I've made a mistake, let me rectify it. There is some sort of rectification. Shame says, I am a mistake. That's different. That's what black tax does. It's actually shame, not guilt.
And we also have to be very careful with social media. Because they see, once you post a picture, they say, oh, look at him. He's living so good life. Well, he look at his mom, where he's living. Look at his dad. Look at his cousin, where he lives. because they pick up from that. But
Yeah.
they don't see what they post on social media, they see what you post.
That's true, because
Yeah.
they post all the amazing
Yeah.
things, but all they see is you're living in a nice environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, with infrastructure, yeah.
Exactly. That shame, like it's one of the things that I learned in therapy for myself, is that you have to differentiate between the two. If you've made a mistake, then that means you can rectify it. But shame attacks who you are and your personality and your core of who you are. That's why no matter what, when they tell you you gotta give me money or whatever it is, you want to get rid of that feeling, right? So then you give it to them, and then it keeps going in this cycle. We have to break that shame cycle.
That's really good, all very interesting. I hope our audience or whoever is viewing this would have a lot of takeaways. Thanks for explaining that black tax. So how do we get out of that? How do we stop paying the black tax?
For example, let's talk about parents, mother. You cannot tell me not to send my mom money when I've seen my mom suffer and she's gone through a lot.
Yep.
And now I'm here, she's right there.
Yep.
I want her to be in the best life possible as well. I want her to
At your expense.
at my expense. That's my mother. So you can't tell me not to send her money.
Good.
I just want to add to that. Yes,
Yes.
yes, you can send money, but you have to have it to send it.
Yes, you have to have
You
it.
might think because life is quite expensive here than there. You're paying electricity, you are paying water, you are paying all these bills that are standing up, and you probably have a part-time job.
There are people in this country where, like, if you're a successful person, you're buying your mama a house, your daddy a house, you're buying them their car, you're paying for their bills, you're paying for their osusu money.
Really?
I'm telling you, here in Australia,
When I tell someone susu, what is susu? Sorry, for people
sorry,
who don't know
sanduk, sanduk, we're collecting money together.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
So that's like putting money together. And
Yes.
how do you guys explain
So
susu? Sorry.
Susu is like 4 of us come together.
Yeah.
This week we're giving possible money. Next week the 3 of
So
us.
it's rather than
we-
saving at a bank, a lot
rather
of
than me
people-
saving in a bank,
Yeah.
I get a couple of friends.
Yep.
Let's do this. Let's rotate giving each other money,
Yep.
the same amount of money.
Now, how do we change that? So one of the sessions that I do, I'm like, well, we have a few options, right? You have a few options. Number one, when we look at budgeting and your money, right? You have to be honest with yourself. And you have to say, just like you was give an example, well, my mama, I need to send my mama money, I need to do this. There's no way I could do it. Now, what you do, you open an account, right? And you choose based on your money that's left over, you choose a percentage from that. You put that money into this black tax account. Whatever that's not there, you cannot send anymore. You put 10%, 15%. That's one of the ways to manage, because you have to manage black tax if you said that you were going to use it, right? The other side is to say no. But to be able to say no, you have to be very mindful.
You were scared of being cursed and all that.
You
You are carrying the family curse to be following you.
You are already cursed anyways. You don't have a retirement plan.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you are being honest.
This black tax is bringing us African here in diaspora down.
Yep.
In terms of investment, because all the money is being sent there. It's like you're throwing money in a big black hole and you don't know where it's going. And this really will help us as African here start thinking, because we are here for a very long time. And we came here for a better life. And because we came here for a better life, we need to start thinking about what am I doing for my child and for my child and that one as well. Once you have all these plans set up, that's why we start talking about wills, having a will, having a trust and all that, because you want to prepare for the future. That's why we have to start having a serious conversation with our brothers and sisters back home. Have an honest discussion with them. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Because it becomes an harassment, where someone can actually go and get, someone go and get a big debt so they can send money back home. They are getting credit cards, emptying their own credit card. Yeah. So it's driving people into depression here, but they don't know that. Families here are now bringing their children into that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you bring your children into that, then that's why you see a lot of youth mental health issues happening. Because you find a 20, 21-year-old is working so many hours because they have to support the family. They are not in education. This is all they're doing. Then what's going to happen in the next years? So you're going to have generational poverty because of things like that, because we're not training our children from the beginning, because we are setting them up for failure. There is also some positive, because this Kikulimba is also very working in African community. I've actually saved a lot of clients who are buying properties because of this Kikulimba. Mainly specifically, they are single mothers. Single mothers are saving, they have quite a good saving, in this Kikulimba is actually helping a lot of them, and I'm working with a lot of them in Plyford area there, where they have cheaper houses, which is specifically for people in situations like this.
So how can you unlearn that when it's being passed down from generation, but you know something doesn't feel right? You want to do something different. Or for you, for example, you're doing something different. So how did you unlearn that outside of reading that book? Because again, there has to be a switch somewhere. So how did that happen for you, for example?
Like definitely, like the Best Food Invest, that was a really good book. But we have to look at money is not just one aspect, right? One part of it, yes, I've now known and my eyes is open. But implementing that meant that I had to look at what is black tax, what is this, what's all these different aspects, and my relationship with it, forgiving myself for the fact that I've messed up with my money, getting counseling around that stuff, and having a whole rounded conversation. And even with my mom, again, going back to my mom and having these discussions with them. And I love my mom. We have a very good relationship. And so I'm like, so mom, what do you, like, why did you do this money this way? Why did dad do it this way? All of these different things, and having that continuous conversation. And through those conversations, I'm able to unlearn, okay, well, I don't have to feel obligated to do this. I don't have to be scared of money or being controlled by uncertainty. I can actually look at my life and actually plan for a future and a life.
When working, for example, when looking for money, I believe people think working hard means more money coming in. No, that's not always the case, because I have come to and learned that concept to say when you go and work really hard, more money you get. But no. So I came to and learn that and say, look, you have to work smart, know where to invest, do the right investment, speak to the right people, then you'll be able to get, and also investing in education, which is very important. Like you say, you are reading the book that gives you a different perspective on money. And it's very, very important, and that investing in yourself as well. Because why would you be looking for all this money when your health is not, is not good? So I've come to learn that, okay, if you are rich or you are looking for money, you also have to look after yourself as well.
Absolutely. And I think you went into something, we don't want to open the can of worms, maybe next time, as Jen would say, open the can of worms. But you mentioned about investment. What was your first investment? This goes out, both of you could address this. What was your first investment, and what did it teach you?
Okay. For me, I probably mentioned this at the first conference that we did when I was talking about my story into business. So when I was young, I went to public schools. Back home, public schools, there was no canteens or where you can go and buy something. When I never took breakfast to school, like other children could go wake up and say, "Oh, mom, make breakfast for me." None of that existed for me. So you wake up in the morning, you shower, you go to school. I never knew that you can actually take breakfast to school, that you can actually take food to school. But during the recess time, you will see kids, playing around, because other schools, they will have some canteens, and I'm like, okay. My mom gave me some money, because sometimes when you do something good or you go and visit, because when I was growing up, when you do, I grew up in a family where there's a lot of boys, and we used to do karate. So when you do karate was in the city. So when you go in the city, you pass through where my mom does a business. She'll give you some money. Say, oh, go and buy sweets, go and buy that. I will keep that money. And that money will build up. I bought a pack of lollipops, right? And then I took that to school and started selling them in class after recess, because some of the kids, nobody brought. No, so I found that there's a problem there. So I started selling that, but obviously being young, I end up eating most of it.
I was gonna say.
So being young, I ended up eating most of it. So that was my first basically investment. I started at a very young age. And then, from there, then I started having a good relationship with the money. I know savings is good. I know, you need to invest for the future, long-term and short-term goals and all that.
For me, one of my most high-risk investment that I've ever done, apart from getting a degree.
That's a good investment.
It's a good investment, but
you don't seem convinced.
Like,
it's a lot of it. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. One of my first investment was buying a house. So building a house was one of the high risk. I know you get to hear a lot of different people that says, oh, it's not worth it or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, there's so many things that you can do with a house that you can't do with rent. You can use the equity, you can do more investment, you can all of that. And, currently looking at my second properties and stuff like that. But that's building, financial, wealth along the way. Because right now, like, say, some of the houses around us, and even, it's like they're like worth 3 times what it was bought 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, so it is worth it in the long run, things like that. The other one of my favorite investment, it's a recent one, is investing in my health. I had a really nasty injury that's going to last, for a lifetime. However, what that did for me pushed me to go to the gym. And so, I go to the gym 5 times a week, and I've been loving that for my mental health and for my physical health. That's probably the biggest investment I would say that anyone can make.
Health. Nothing beats your health.
Yeah.
That's the best investment you can make, because without your health, you won't be able to do anything else.
Exactly.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
That's good. And then buying a house, property, it always appreciates. So
Exactly.
why do otherwise? So
Yes.
that's a good move.
That's good.
Possible.
No.
What brings me peace? For me, I believe that everything is sort of interconnection. So when like the name of this show is called Tranquil Dialogue, which means in French we say tranquil. I think I pronounce it better in French. It's a tranquil. It's quiet. Having that a home, because I'm an introvert, and I like being in a quiet place where makes me reflect, think about life. What can we do? What can I do? Just also being home with family, play with the kids, playing, having my wife around, and then that is peace for me. Life is complete, yes.
Yeah.
Your wife is never home.
Your wife is
Never home. Sorry, babe. I gotta do more.
How about your weight?
Me, my faith in Christ, that makes the biggest. People let you down, things will let you down, the world will do all sorts of crazy stuff. But I know that He'll never leave nor forsake, so that's what gives me peace.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, wonderful. So thank you both so much for joining us today, and we hope this episode has really brought you joy, at least got you thinking about your choices with money and how you want to move forward and to build that intergenerational wealth that we all dream of for ourselves and for our future generations to come. So we'd just like you to go online if you're not already. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can check us out on Instagram and all the social media handles. And thank you. Have a nice day.